Are we live? Looks like it, but I'm not seeing you there. So, as usual, I'll wait just a moment and use this time precisely for the usual operation. Yes, let's see if I can do it. Yes, yes, it's okay. It's done. I'm seeing two persons, yes, right now. So I'll begin. Good evening. Thank you one more time for your choice. Today we are going to talk about Full Cup Mastery. Full Cup Mastery is the title of this Facebook Live, and I will consider what is really the meaning generation that we know we as humans make into our own lives into the perspective of seeing our lives like in the popular saying, seeing the glass half full or half empty. In this live I will talk about seeing the glass full, and more than just seeing it full, making it full to the best of our ability to do so, preparing our own ability to receive life into the fullest way possible. So let's jump right in. Seeing a full cup really amounts to the consummation of a situation that we learn how to see in the fullest details, in the fullest grasp possible. So, seeing the glass full and having full mastery onto that, and I'm seeing you now, Julieta, welcome. You are still at the very beginning, so I will salute you. And thank you one more time for your choice, your energy, and your attention. Please put your comments in whatever role or whatever question you may have, because I'll have all my pleasure in using those to build the life as we go. So, full cup mastery. Full cup mastery really is the art and practice, and even science for some. And you can consider all such angles of making the very best of we can with life, using the major skill, the major assets that we have in generating purpose, which is the meaning making facility. And so when we think about full cup mastery, well, let's start with the science side of it. We can acknowledge that even beyond the logotherapy perspective, we can also see the other more natural sciences perspective onto this one. If we consider the systems thinking and systems investigations and endeavors across several branches of science, including biology, including human constitution, medicine, all sorts of branches, we can acknowledge this very much needed principle that every system in nature, every system in life only is healthy if and only if the energy available onto the system reaches every single part of it in its due measure, without over or underflowing of as such. So I repeat one more time, every system in life only is healthy if the energy flowing in him reaches every part in an appropriate measure, not upper or down the needed flux. As such, we ourselves can only feel duly provided in accordance to our life purpose facilities that we know that are connected with passion, with interest, with expression of competences, skills, abilities, gifts, talents, in putting ourselves to the benefit of something greater than just our own ego interest. Those only can happen when we feel that we have balanced energy flux, nurturing all the parts of a given reality. If we think about how passionate I am in my job, if I am too much in a state of too much excitement, I may become wasting precious energy or losing focus or otherwise bothering people because I don't like the type of expression too much overwhelming and too much uplifting as such. And if I'm with a low level of passion, that reveals in my energy, that feels little less connected, little less adjusted to needed onto certain types of contexts or with some types of people or whatever. So it's very important that we consider that full cup mastery really amounts to, in this more scientific perspective, creating, acknowledging, and facilitating the conditions for every aspect of our purposeful expression to have the very best nurturing possible, the very best energy possible, which is at a place of optimizing expression, and not maximizing as such without regard to limits. No, that's not it. We must consider that we have embedded limits, but they are that must be reasonable within our own frame of reference at the moment. Yes, not to be confused with limiting beliefs onto our own possibilities in absolute terms, or with our own ability to grow regard to a certain set of filters that we tend to have according to our own possibilities. But when we go beyond those more beginning type of issues, we will understand that we really need to consider the systemic approach in order to get the full plate, the full cycle of our own expression nurtured with the very best components, fluxes possible. So this is the more science type of branch around full cup mastery. The other one is really around the meaning making type of thing, and it's more like an art than a science, and it's the art of the dance with life in and outside ourselves, like we've told yesterday and in other transmissions. And in my perspective, that's when mastery is most needed, because it asks from us to have sensitivity. It asks from us to consider the implications in not so reasonable terms as such, because we need to consider our intuition, our instinct, also our own emotional dimensions, to consider, okay, but is it more that I really need here, or is it different? Do I really need to, and it can be so simple such as, am I hungry or am I thirsty? Do I need to eat now or do I need to sleep? Do I need to read one more book, or do I need to put something into practice? Do I need to go see a movie, or do I need to talk with a friend? Are you getting? The thing is, we need to be very, very, very attentive to our own behaviors of choice and understand what is the very best expression needed, not only in regard of those behaviors, but going beyond them, thinking that maybe what is needed is something different, maybe not more, but different. And of course, maybe it is more that we need. Maybe we need some more of this and more of that, more space, more time, more attention, more resources, more relationships, more whatever more we may find precious. Yes, but not to spill, not to make ourselves a soil for the spillover side of life, which is mostly visible and clear in the world that we still live in. Is a world of spillovers, is a world of waste, a world of toxicity, in the sense that we, beyond going to filling the cup, we went until the cup overflows, not in the creative and beneficial side of overflowing, but in the side of wasting, in the side of putting effort beyond measure, beyond due measure, beyond the appropriate necessity of it. So, in this art, we are learning to consider our own worlds that are in permanent mutation and permanent movement, because change really is the law of the manifest in ourselves and in others and in all there is, with an expression in manifest sense. Yes, and of course it is very, very much needed that we made the subtle distinctions between having more on the hardware side of it and having better in the software side of it. Because better is a matter of choice, very much connected with the intangible, unseen realms of life that tend to generate meaning according to our own values perception, our own priorities in life. They are not bound to absolute measures and absolute metrics of consideration. So of course, full cup mastery is go beyond the perception that we need more stuff. We need more of this and more of this. It's an accumulative mentality that many times goes on the opposite direction of what we really need. So this is a thing, and of course it is an art of significance. It is an art of dancing with the unexpected. It is an art of making the very best omelette with the eggs we have, or the very best lemonade with the lemons, whatever metaphor you may wish to use, to be the very best person possible in the role that we face. I came across to a metaphor in a scene, in a movie, many times, because it tends to use the evil side of human nature onto conveying a very important message. And this is a scene. And before I enter the scene, I will answer your question, Julieta. Is transforming an overflow of energy a good solution to keep our balance? Well, I believe so. I really believe that is the major principle around sustainable systems, no matter what context they may be, because it really is channeling energy onto outlooks of expression where that energy can be really productive and have an ecology expression, even beyond nature. If you think about in ecology as a concept of overall and yes, natural way of considering life, even beyond what we tend to call as nature, because nature is everywhere, even beyond the nature realm of the visible forms like trees or animals or the ocean, sun, whatever. So yes, and that's really is the principle beyond many ways of energy generation, including in our society. If you think about a dam, how does a dam generates energy? It's by getting a mean or a solar panel, by the way, or other types of devices that convert brute or raw sources of energy into other types of energy. Of course, the overflow of energy is the main principle that is behind several of the most sustainable, if not every sustainable way of dealing with energy, of converting energy, like fossil ways of creating energy. What they do is that they precisely don't use an overflow. They burn fuel instead of using fuel that already exists onto making that creation. I don't know if I answered your question. In very specific terms, into human development type of use, we can think most of the times onto emotional energy when we feel negative expressions of it, like anger, like resentment, like stress, fear. We can use those forms of energy, if they arise, into mostly creative outlets, giving them different directions. Yes, and then you can think, if I'm stressed, I'll go for a run, or I'll go to the gym, or I'll talk with a friend, and those are redirecting outlets as such. So yes, and one of the main scenes that I recall from one movie that many of you may have seen, Braveheart with Mel Gibson, I believe many of you have seen this movie, is one of the scenes, one of the most evil scenes, one scene in which the king, after committing a murder on top of a tower, because he has thrown the person from the window of the tower, he looks at his prince, at his son, and he says with that evil way of expression that a king must learn how to see every positive into every situation. And that struck me deeply at the time, because that resembled like a really nice lesson to consider onto such a extreme killing scene, like the king throwing a guy onto the window of the castle tower. But it really is a major life lesson. It really is an incredibly needed lesson. The ability to make an asset, to make a positive out of every negative, or to acknowledge the other side of it, going for that consummation, for that fullness, that really acknowledges that in every situation it's impossible to only see bad stuff or negative stuff. In every negative there is a positive, because if we consider the situation in fullness, we know that in life everything has the two sides of it. It's the law of polarity. We have the positive, we have the negative, and then we have the fullness of it, the totality, the yin and yang symbol, the Tao, that deals, that flows, and that dances with it all. And so it really, the game of life, it really is a game of fullness, is a game of awareness ever more consummated into meanings that we can translate into enlightened action, if you prefer to make it so. So, of course, we don't need to throw people out of the window to learn that, fortunately. But the main issue is this: there isn't a single situation that, even beyond horrors and tragedies, doesn't have in it the seeds to launch better, new, and ever preferred expressions of ourselves and what we want to do with our own lives. Yes. And so Full Cup Mastery really is life mastery, really is our ability to really connect onto the moment and onto the present moment. And we have been talking repeatedly about this, about the ability and the imperative, the real necessity of connecting with the deeper layers of reality, living into the present moment, going beyond or deeper than cognition as such, deeper than speech, deeper than thought, deeper than just having the choice to connect with the fullness of life in the emptiness that apparently we can access in and out of ourselves. And so, Full Cup Mastery really is life mastery, which calls forth for the due and wise use of meaning generation, of signifying life, things that happen, of using those to create different results, posing better questions ever more. What does this situation brings me right this time that I really can use right away without waiting for the more longer term perspective of it? What can I have that I can use right now? Is just an invitation for breathing deeply because I'm getting upset. If I'm getting upset, I know that I'm getting my strings played, and if I'm getting my strings played, maybe I should recover my own strings and not let them to be played onto the hands of others. And so maybe, just maybe, if I can witness what's happening, I will not be subject to their pulling of strings behind my neck. Maybe they are not doing it deliberately, or if so, maybe that's just a sign of my own necessity of making so. And so I'm just giving an example that something that pisses me off, and then I start to making some sort of meaning, interpretation around it, and then it generates more negative energy, and so I need to cut it. And that's the biggest opportunity at the moment, the opportunity to cut something that doesn't work. So in that cutting of what doesn't work, I get the second opportunity of learning something that can work, or in creating the space on which the solution will arise naturally, effortlessly, in my awareness, like in a readiness packaged for me to use. That's what happens many times when we tend to go one way after the other, after the other, after the other, revising the same rat race inside ourselves. Oh my god, this doesn't work. Da, 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 da. If I cut it, open the space, keep the attention onto the present moment, and then the solution comes. Many times it's a split in a matter of seconds. In a matter of seconds. And of course, if not in seconds, we can still get ourselves in connection with what is and do so in several different moments, angles, pitches. If it's a complex type of issue that need to drill, but not necessarily going into closed circles, but making cycles like life makes those. Spiraling, toroidal type of cycles easily to happen as your brain fills in the gaps and writes scripts around small events. Okay, Julieta, now you are telling me about all of those rat races inside our brains. Yes, we can all have them. And yes, we know that after brain circuitry is assembled, if energy keeps being poured onto the circuit, then the circuit keeps developing, returning us those very same results. At the same time, we know by neuroscience that we can create new brain circuitry, and that those new enhanced, better, purposeful driven circuitry can replace the other, well, the older ones. And if we match our attention to the new circuitry, then it will be ever stronger, ever powerful, using other language from neuroscience. Myelin, the major substance that wraps around those circuitries, is getting stronger, thicker. And so, as thicker as it gets, the easier it becomes to leave it instead of the old circuitry, the not so purposeful circuitry. And so we will get that ability ever more. And of course, meaning generation really is more than a circuitry. It's like a web, it's like a major net that operates, that integrates multiple brain areas, and including the both hemispheres. Yes, because it dances with reason and with intuition, with emotion and the instincts, using like the limbic brain or the lizard brain, and the left side brain, the right side brain, and the whole circuitry that flashes, that fires. And it can be seen with the proper devices, of course. Every time we repeat one type of path or the other. And so yes, practice makes perfection or perfectible ways of being ever more a reality. And then we get, of course, more of that, the fullness sense, and that, of course, we can get more of those type of interpretations that, oh, the glass is half full or half empty. Okay, I believe it's half full. Well, but can it be a better interpretation than half full? Oh yes, I believe maybe I can see the glass. If it's not completely full, I can fill it ever more. I can pour some more content into it. But can it happen that we can have another even useful interpretation? Maybe another interpretation is the one that says that no matter if there is half with water, half with space, I will use the very best of what's happened. If if it's half with space and half water, maybe I can put it some beautiful representation inside the glass. Maybe if it's for my kid, maybe I can put some toy that I made with my bare hands for him to play with, and you'll find nice that his father had the idea of putting a toy inside of a glass with half water and half toy. Or if it's juice, maybe he finds nice to have some other things like cookies or toasts or whatever. And then we start to really get what life is. In my perspective, life really is a game to be played, to be enjoyed, to be used, to give to the world our very best flavors. And then we may get beyond the obsession of fullness as such, if we consider that perspective of, oh, I really want to get more of this and more of that, better this, better that, more, better, more, better, more, better. Wait a minute. Can it be that there are other ways of considering it? Maybe playful is one nice to have. Joyful is one nice to have. Both the words have the full at the end of them, but I believe that's one of the issues with language. Although I love language and I love speaking and I love communicating as such, language has many down pits. Yes, several pitfalls, I believe, and there are many other ways of communicating that can be more near our own nature. Yes, all types of expressions that use the body, for instance, and that use raw sounds that are common in every language or in every type of oral expression as such. Now we are going into the linguistic territories, but go check if you understand. If you want to other sources, there are several studies around linguistics, evolutionary linguistics. We as humans are much more than just our speech, our thought process, our cognitive significance as such. Yes, because you can attribute meanings without resorting to the cognitive as perceived to be type of apparatus. That is the one we tend to operate mostly in this realm. But as such, using the tools that I have at the moment, yes, I'm using words, and yes, I'm trying to convey something beyond them, even when doing so. So I really believe, I hope it helps you in any way. Maybe you can reflect yourself. What are the ways you really prefer to make yourself a master of your own life, according to this perspective? And yes, you can send me a message or an email to julio@juliobarroco.com, or of course just put your comment if you want, and I will have my full pleasure in considering it. My dear friends, for today we are done. Tomorrow we will talk about all of you. All of you is the title of tomorrow's live, and yes, it can be taken from several angles, and yes, that's precisely what we are going to do tomorrow. So, bye bye, take good care. Thank you one more time.